Welcome back to the We Are Rockwood podcast. We are once again at Wilk Production Studios in beautiful downtown Rockwood. And I will throw it to Leanne to give our salute to service, which will lead into our guest introduction.
Yes, thank you. Our salute to service today, I want to recognize James Morgan Evans. He's the father of our guest today. He served in World War II, and we want to thank him for his service to our country and our community. And this salute to service moment is brought to you by Roanland Surveying. So let's get to our guest right now.
Well,
Brian,
guys, thank you.
I'll go ahead and introduce him. This is Dudley Evans. He's a local person. Most everybody sees him already a lot on TV.
He's a legend.
He's a legend. Yes,
He's a legend in Rockwood.
Man.
Absolutely. Does lots of things, and we want to talk about a variety of things. But first, Dudley, just talk about where you were born and growing up. And of course, we already know, and we have already mentioned that you did go through school with the greatest class
Tell us,
that ever
Leanne.
graduated Rockwood High School.
1978.
Yes, 1978. Best class ever.
Born at Chamberlain Memorial Hospital, like most of us,
Yes.
back in the heyday in 1960. So that means I'm 65 years of age
Yes.
now. And wow, time's been good. God's been good to me. It's been a blessed life so far, and got to do a lot of things. Wow, it's amazing when you get to talk about your life, how that you can just unfold all the memories and all these things, and then from school, as you mentioned, and it's just been a good run. Been a good run so far. So yeah, but thanks for having me by, Brian and Leanne.
Thank you.
It's good to be here today. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
This is a good program, by the way. It's really going over good.
Thank you. We enjoy doing it. I like hearing people's stories.
Yeah.
So before we get to present day, let's talk about school. Your kind of extracurricular activities, favorite classes, favorite teachers if you had any, all that stuff. You went to Ridgeview. Well, let's see. Was
Well,
Ridgeview
always,
there?
yeah. That was at Ridgeview. Ridgeview, I was there before they did the, actually we were there, I think the first classes to use the new facility, the new extension.
I think
Remember
that we just went through third grade at
That's
Ridgeview.
right.
Then we had to go to Central after that.
4th, 5th, and 6th, we stayed there, I think, at the new location with the new building that was built. It was a modern building at that time. We had an elevator. You remember that? And I did, of course.
Right.
Yeah. Daryl Cates, he was a great tumbler. Of course, or Eric, I should say. And Daryl, of course, was our dentist. And but I thought we always had that tumbling mat right there in the hallway, and they made us tumble. Remember that?
I remember that, but that's good.
Yes, and that's
I would
Ridgeview.
like to see that now. Can y'all do that now? I'll get a tumbling mat if y'all will.
It's so funny. In church one time, I was singing, and I said, "I'm gonna do some Jesus aerobics." So I actually did a tumbling mat right now. I did a rollover, and that about killed me, but I did. And I think I was 40 years of age then. But tumbling, and then of course going on to Rockwood Middle School, which we knew the old building. Remember, we were in the old building. A lot of folks don't know that, but the Rockwood Junior High building was 3 stories tall.
Yes.
And those I can still hear us going up those steps right now.
The
those
wooden floors.
Steps. Yes. Had Miss Saylor.
It's a beautiful sound.
I remember Miss Saylor, and of course Miss Hood as well. And of course she was on up in high school, and then to the others. And gosh, who else? Bristow, I think, and just so many people that really in those days they really brought us to realize they're there for us. And as you know, as a educator now and been principal and still, it's like. These people helped steer our lives in the direction we should go. And of course, in those days, we learned the basics: reading, writing, arithmetic. Yes. And so then I went on in high school, and I did take trade school 2 years. It was offered. Yeah. And I took small engine repair. It's kind of funny because I was going to be a truck driver. It's what I wanted to do in life.
Really?
Yes. So I had Mr. Griffin was our teacher, and I could take a a head off of lawnmower and do the rims and take the squeezers and get the you know, as you've been around mechanics a lot.
Yeah.
And those ring squeezers, and they're on the pistons, you know, to keep the oil going, and do the valves and everything. And I thought, man, I'm pretty good at this. So I did that for 2 years, and I took that in my junior and senior year. And then after that, of course, went down, and I was working at the Bank of Roane County when Glen Oaks was there, and Nathan Howard. And they gave me a job because I was washing windows around that, it's now a Mexican restaurant, the old Bank of Roane County, which was Regions for a while. And then they gave me a job inside doing the janitorial work, cleanup afterwards. So I had a key in the bank, I had the key to the side door of the bank when I was 16 years of age. So I must have been pretty trustworthy. So after that, of course, I don't know how long you want me to go, but I went to work at the hosiery mill, like all of us just about, for about 6 months. And it was funny, I was downstairs and I was having to get the boxes and tape them over, and because it was on the belt line. And those ladies, man, they had to have those boxes to make production. And I got behind, and I heard them go, case, case. And I'm thinking, I didn't do that too good. Cut my hands off with that old scotch tape and patched the boxes down, and they sent me upstairs. And I stayed there for about 3 more months and worked night shift. And then I got a job with Moore's Snack Foods, driving the delivery truck. Yeah.
There you were, truck driving.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, it was. That's a delivery truck, and I went to work for Kearns 3 months, and that's all I could take. It was like 4 in the morning till about 8 at night.
Oh my goodness.
And they sent me to the Kearns main bread factory in Knoxville, which is now a new market up there. Yeah. And I had my rigorous physical I'd ever took in my life to go to work for Kearns. I thought, God, I've never been through so much. But after that, I decided I'm not going to be a delivery guy much longer. So then, Dad got me a job driving a dump truck with APAC at that time. Road Builders, I think they went into Road Builders, and drove a dump truck at A.B. Long's Quarry, just stockpiled for a while. And then after that, went on the road driving a truck, for Murphy and Sons down in Spring City, my first over-the-road job. So funny, I told the wife at the time, she said, oh, you're excited to get a job? I said, yeah, I made 15 cents a mile. Truck drivers, listen, 15 cents a mile. And that was it. And so I went to Douglas, Georgia, my first run, and came back, and I got my first check, and I was going to be a truck driver, so I got me a belt buckle, some boots. I spent all my money, and my wife went down to get the first check I got, and it was $7.50, all she had left out of it.
Oh, God.
Oh, well, it was a bad deal, but anyway. From then, I went to work for Bruin East, Eck Miller Transportation, and a few other jobs. I worked for the East guys, and then to get me where we're at now, back in 87, I went to work for Bank Materials in Rockwood. I come off the road, I had 3 kids, me and Terry had 3 kids, so I needed to be home. And so I went to work for Lynn Cobb, Pee Wee Anderson, of course Joe Merriman, that's how you get Bank Materials, see, M-A-C, that's where all that came from.
Yes.
So I worked there 4 years, and then I was doing a radio gospel show at Glen Hill Station, 105.7 every Sunday morning. And that went for 4 years, and then Glenn and Peabody Ledford, bless his heart, came up to me and asked, said, Glenn, will somebody do news? Can you do news? I said, well, I guess I had to quit driving the truck because I'm legally blind, so I couldn't pass the road physical on the eye testing along with driving over a road truck, because in 1992 they started the CDL license, not just chauffeur's license. So I was on the paving machine, just screwing the paver, you know how you do, and you know the wings and all that, and I was raking behind it. And then when they asked me if I'd like to have a job doing news, I said, yeah, I'd rather be inside an air conditioner than I would be on this hot asphalt machine. So I started news in 1992, working for Glenn, and
Peabody, we can thank Peabody and Glenn for getting you started there.
Sure.
That's so, I did not know that.
Yeah, Peabody, he's been buddies ever since, and of course I appreciate the Hills and all they done for me in my early days, and it went right on into radio, and then that was sold in 2004, I think, to Kirk Tollett. He bought it when Glenn unfortunately passed away, and Lisa and them decided to sell the station, Peggy as well. And it's 105.7 in Crossville now. I still barter there with them a little bit, but then I went to work for Ron Berry, part-time in BBB Communications when he owned it. Here's another thing. BBB means Brown, Bowman, and Berry. That's who owned the station. That's where you get BBB from. Is Ron Berry, Tom Bowman, and Tony Brown owned that station to start with. So it's still BBB, and I work for Brad Jones now. He bought it from Ron Berry several years ago. I've been here about 26 years altogether. So.
Okay. So when did you get interested in music? I mean, have you always been musical since childhood? And were you in band in high school?
I did not do band. I probably wish I had. I was always interested in drumming and bass and all that. So me and my mother and dad sing in our little local church, Griever's Chapel Baptist Church on Rockwood Mountain on Dogwood Road. So I began to play bass with them in 1976. And they drugged me all over the country singing on Saturday nights everywhere. So that's where I started in 1976. And then, of course, I joined an Admirations Quartet in 1983. And we sang everywhere, da-da-da-da-da. And then went into a group called Victorious in 1994. We sang for Dennis Ferguson's Coach for the Code many years. And we was always guests there. And then the Southland Quartet, and then me and the family started singing in 2002 when Victorious, or 99 when Victorious disbanded. And we were very busy, had several buses and just going through all that. Then Victorious reorganized in 2015. We used the Rockwood Event Center for singing every Saturday night. And it's just been a good run, and now I'm soloing a little bit, but still active in music as well.
So were you ever formally trained or schooled in music, or are you self-taught or just picked up from other musicians?
Picked up from other musicians. You know, my family, Derek and Temper, very talented now. They do a lot of music, Temper Evans Band, and I'm just kind of started in church as everybody does. You know, it's like that's where you begin, and just kind of picked it up because everybody says, "Oh, I think I can do this." But I've been blessed, I guess, to sing bass and sing tenor. So I can do all parts, I guess. But yeah, it's been God-given talent, I think, Leanne.
Yeah, 100%.
And you give a lot back to Rockwood. You perform at the tree lighting in Main Street Monday. You filled in. You saved Main Street Monday.
You saved it one night, so.
Yeah, that was interesting. Becky said, "Dudley, can you get it out?" I said, "We don't have a guest. They canceled." I said, "Well, okay, give me 20 minutes and I'll try to get there and set up." So we got down here and done that. But thanks to Scott, who always MCs, who's behind the scenes here, who always MCs the Christmas program and does a great job doing that. And so I've enjoyed my run in Rockwood. I was on council for 12 years. And it's funny, Glenn Long, who's gone on now, he told me, he says, "You got any cards?" I says, "No." He says, "Well, here's $20, go buy you some." So, and I was running against him. And
that's Glenn Long, though.
Yes,
that's Glenn Long.
I tell you what, so it's really good. I've worked under Brillo Miller for years, and me and Brillo always had our little quirks, you know. And he says, "Dudley, I know you got something to say. Go ahead," or something like that. Yeah, but it's good to know that Rockwood is on the move, and we're doing good now, and had a good time here in this town. I'm a life longer, and I'll die here.
Yeah, you're very committed to the community, I think.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your kids for just a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Temper and Derek are musical.
Yep. And Janisha's the third one.
Yes.
And Janisha's artist.
She's a horse lover and an artist.
She is an amazing artist.
She is an amazing artist.
To be legally blind like the rest of it's just it's amazing, but she can just draw those horses, and amazing just how talented all of them are. Of course, I give Terry most of the credit for that. They took after her most of the time. But I got the singing from me, and I guess all the other things from her. But yeah, it's they're very talented and very musically inclined too. You know.
So when you had your family band, were all three kids part of that?
Yeah, Janisha's the oldest. She has 3 kids, and Derek has 1. And so it's funny, we started singing, and we got so many funny bus stories to tell. We were actually chosen one year when the Rhone Alliance had this thing. You remember it? Possibly you do. They had this 7-county thing where that it was some kind of an awards or something. So we were picked to represent Rhone County on the riverfront in Knoxville. And we went up there and sang as Rhone County's representative. So we was honored to do that at that time for the Rhone Alliance. And then took off to Kentucky from there and sang up there that night. So it was a long trip, but we did good, and God blessed us. And they're still very talented, all of them.
Oh, yes.
I see Janisha some. She's at the expo a lot with her 4-H and the horses. So my husband talks to her regularly, I guess. But he'll bring a picture to me that he'll take of something that she's drawn. And it's just, she's amazing.
Yeah, and the equestrian life is her life. And her two daughters, Amber and Rachel. They've been in 4-H shows and have gotten blue ribbons and different things. And Temper now is working at Y12. Derek's on the reservation as a he tests the groundwater and everything. So he works for a contractor that does that and makes sure that the mercury's not highly leveled and all that. So they've really got good jobs and good families. And Temper's married to Junebug Charles Clausen, who's got the Junebug Dirt Works right up from
Midtown.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He's a good guy.
So I had your kids as when I was a math teacher, and Derek was not a fan of geometry, just like you weren't either.
I agree.
He's like, well, why can't we just play the guitar in here? I'm like, well, you just can't do it in class.
Yeah, and Janice was so funny because when she graduated, and we got her video of her graduation, of course, and she was had to roll that cart around through the hallways back then because she had to have these big magnifier things to be able to do it. But she went through it, and Derek and Temper, of course, unfortunately got GEDs, but decided to, bow out of it around, I think, their junior year. But they went on and progressed and has done really well.
Yeah, they were all good kids.
Yeah, they were.
Good kids.
They got their daddy.
Yes, they do. They do. Before the podcast, we went to
Well, we talk trains.
we're going to talk trains. So tell us about your model train passion and hobby. And, I remember you having a place down the end of Kingston Avenue, not the end of Kingston Avenue, but by the VFW. I remember that place, but I think you've had other places also.
Gosh.
And then you're working on one now.
Yes. In 1974, I got my first little train set, Taco. And from that point on, I was always loving trains and trucks and anything big like that. So then as I got older, me and Roy Turner, whom our first club was named after, he unfortunately passed away in '94 with pancreatic cancer. We went around, he had a video production company. Well, it wasn't a video production. Well, I guess you could say it was. It was Trainland Video. So we ran around in the 80s filming trains all over the country. I'm going to say eastern part of the nation, not far west. He did go out in Kansas City and different places. So he is a modeler, like I am. So he built one in his home up there, kind of in his basement. He built an attachment to his home on Vine Street. And when he passed away, him and his mother, of course, before he passed away, he talked to me, he says, Dudley, I want you to take these trains and you take those and do what you can with it, maybe make a club somewhere. So Art Gibson at the time, who worked for the city of Rockwood part-time, he and his wife Debbie Gibson, who was a Roane County News reporter back years ago, me and Art went up there and took it down, and we decided we'd get a place here on Front Street. It used to be the old B&J Cafe, it used to be the old Quick and Tasty. Beside Bill Billings' photo building, which is no longer there. We started our first club there and named it Roy L. Turner Memorial Model Railroad Association in honor of Roy, because I told his mother we would do that. Well, unfortunately, that one burnt down after we built it inside. About 4 years, that old wiring in the building was old, and then in the bathroom area in the rear, it got hot one morning, and they called us down and says, unfortunately, there's been a fire in here, and fire trucks came and the fire department. And they had to spray water all in the building to get the heat down because some of our cars had melted. It got so hot in that concrete building. So that disbanded. Then we moved it to VFW building after about 7-8 years. Now Jeff Loveday, who you'll see on the video as well, was part of that club as well back then. That's how long we've been knowing each other. And that was in 1992 to 93. And from then, we had a lull of about 10 years. Then I rented the VFW building in Rockwood on South Kingston Avenue, and we put it in there. And they unfortunately said their club is no longer going to be in existence, so they sold the building and had to move out. So then we got with Steve Alexander. He owns the old Walker's building, Walker's Auto and Home. So that's where we're at now. We built it there, started 3 years ago. This June will be 3 years. So as you see on the video, that's where we've gotten to this point. But it's called Rockwood Model Railroaders. And we invite everyone to come by and be with us.
So we are at Rockwood Model Railroaders with Dudley Evans on location. We're talking about this in the podcast, so we're just going to get Dudley to give us a tour right now of what's going on here.
Thank you,
So
Leanne. Thank you, Brian, for being here, being a part of this today, giving us a little bit of a publicity shot of what we've been building here for the last close to 3 years. It's been about 3 years now since we moved from the old VFW building on Kingston Avenue to here because they sold that building. So we rent this building from Steve Patterson. And so it's not Steve Patterson, I was Steve Alexander. Got that right. Anyway, if you start in here, Scott, and you see this is going to be our Rockwood scene basically right here. We're trying our best to model it the best we can, but you know, it's not going to be exact. So if you walk on through, first got to show you the horn that Jeff Loveday, our vice president, his dad built this years ago. He should have patented them. It's a little steam whistle thing, so kids love that. And then you walk around. Everything is traversing the entire building. It takes about 20 minutes for a train to make a loop. So we got the coal mine up on the top right there. That we represent the Tennessee Central because it's up on the hillside. And then if you come on around, this is our main yard, of course. You got to have a staging yard while your trains are in. And a lot of our club members bring their own equipment. And you see some of these engines that are right here. These are scale models. They're just exact. This is from, of course, the 70s models. And then you're going into the modern era. And, of course, the intermodal trains, you see those come through Rockwood all the time with the containers on them. And, of course, we got Jeff right here. If you'll see Jeff, he is our electronics guy. Right here, Jeff Loveday, the vice president. And he does all of our electronics. He puts all the signals down on the track, does most of our track work as well. He also included here, we got cameras all over the layout where you can see different scenes. Because he worked for UT as their production guy up there for a while, so he knows all about this. He designed our dispatcher's panel. This will show you where our trains are at when there's a red line on. So it's just like the real railroad operates. And then the scenes, of course, the rock cuts and all. I do most of the scenery, not all of it, but most of it. You see the rock cuts, we put these in. Some of this is just busted concrete pieces that I got out back there and just mowed those in. And we do use plaster castings as well. We got a train coming, actually on the other side over there. So we can run about 9 trains at once when all the club members are here. We got about 12 members right now. And we always got to have bridges, of course. You got to have the bridges. And again, some of the scenery that I've done through the years. And we got a pond right down here that we built. The little lake area that I built right there. It's kind of like out of polyurethane and just painted it right. And then the rock cuts, of course. And of course, everything is kind of tied together. Like I say, we run every Saturday, so if anyone wants to come down, we are open Saturdays from 1 p.m. till about 8 p.m. for the general public. And we encourage all people who haven't seen this to come by. We're located at 130 South Front Avenue. So I've been in trains all my life, basically, and started with my first set when I was 14. And then we created the hillsides. These are actually lift outs. You can take these out. They're actually on styrofoam, so I won't pull them up right now. But all that is built off of the layout, and then we place it inside there. And then we're working on this as a road that Oh, what's underneath? Yeah, this is how we started, Leanne and Brian and Scott. This is styrofoam. Then we build it with paper wrapping that's like package paper. Then we'll take a plaster cloth and put over that, then paint it back with a little light color plaster, and then we put our ground foam on and then put the trees in and things like that. So it takes a while. And I'm building a road right here, and that's what we got this plaster here, is to make the crossing go across to the depot. And here's some of the road that's already done right here, Scott, that I ain't got the lines on it yet, but it's getting there. So all in all, got a staging yard over there where they could pull their trains out and take off. We operate it just like a real railroad. We have passing sidings and people can bring their trains in. The dispatcher's panel operates all the switches from that seat right down there. So come and be with us here at the Rockwood Model Railroad. We'd love to have you.
So when you're open, people can just come in and tour and see the train set up. And what about your club? Do you meet regularly, or are those just the people that contribute to making this place happen? How does that?
Yeah, we got club dues of $40 a month for club members because our rent's it's not cheap, and utilities, So if anybody's interested in model railroad, we have also our youth program, where that if you're 16 or older, you can get into a youth program with it. And if you're under 16, you need to be accompanied by an adult, of course, to hang out. But Saturdays are open 1 to 8. We do running sessions. We have about 12 club members who have their own engines and equipment, and those engines are not cheap, so we have to be very careful because some of those are now $300 a piece, the locomotives, because they're all scale models and got sound on them, and it's just a remarkable deal. And Jeff, of course, is our electronics guy, and we couldn't operate without him because he keeps everything rolling as far as electricity. Because now engines, the new model engines have computer chips in them. Go figure. And yeah, that's why they're so expensive, and they have the sound chips in them and all of that. Where the ones I had years ago, we didn't have sound machines. I'd take a tape and go up to Emory Gap and tape the yard sounds of the trains going through and the cars clashing, bang, bang, and run it on a cassette tape in our old layout, just have some sound effects.
Oh, wow.
But now everything else is just modernized now, and it's just crazy how that model railroaders how it's come together, and it's amazing. It's a good hobby. And we had some Boy Scouts involved in it years ago in our first club, and they enjoyed coming in, building scenery. Of course, I guess I picked up from that. So, it's just I'm just a scenery builder basically. I can lay track and I can do that, but I just basically just do the groundwork, and some of our other guys do as well.
Yes,
oh, and by the way,
amazing.
speaking of trains, the Railfan camera we have in Rockwood. Now, a lot of folks may not know this. When I was on council, I told Brillo Miller, our mayor, and the council as well, I said, we need to move the caboose. It's just not in the right place.
I agree. I think that was a good move.
Yeah, so it took a while to get that moving through the ranks, but then we finally, after I even wasn't on council, I told Becky, because they seen her layout, and they said, it'd be a good place to put it over by the tracks. So we decided to do that, or they did, and got it moved. There's now a platform on it for viewership, and people have come all over the country because on that post out there, it is streaming live constantly. There's 2 cameras there. You'll notice if you look up there on your south end of that. So if you can't vandalize it, you'll be in trouble. There's cameras everywhere. But it's put Rockwood on the map. Virtual Railfan on YouTube. You go there and they have train cams all over America and even the world. And Rockwood is now known for its railroad history.
Yes.
And we're on the map, thank goodness.
Yes,
because
that's so exciting. Someone sent me a TikTok that someone had taken. They were doing a tour of all these railroad places, and they had included a Rockwood, and I was so impressed that Rockwood had made a national sort of a...
You either love them or hate
following,
trains, Nobody wants to sit and wait on one to go by for 15 minutes, but they are what's moved America through the years, and the building of the Transcontinental Railroad, in the 1800s, in 1868, I think, was connected it connected America. Railroads really started the transformation of our industry and everything that's happened. So you either love them or hate them, but,
Right.
But
one of the best things about Rockwood is if you go to a baseball game and you're sitting there and you hear the trains come through. It sounds like
football game too.
It sounds like home.
Right.
It does. I love to hear the trains, and of course we're a little desensitized to it. We don't hear it as much as people that aren't from
like
here
I've had people
do.
that visit will be startled, like when we're sitting waiting on it, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even notice it. It's home.
It's home.
That's what it sounds like.
It is the sound of home for me. And even where I live out on Abels Valley Road, I don't know how far we are from the tracks, but I can, sitting out in the summer, I can hear.
You said that sitting on Eagle Point Drive, you can hear the train.
You can.
Yeah.
Going through Black Creek.
I love it. Don't you love it?
But there are some areas that are quiet zones they've got in America now where that city councils have said, hey, we don't want these things roaring through town, blowing all the way through.
That's depressing.
And so there is quiet zones that are out there in some areas, but it's just the way it is. I don't want to get hit by one, but...
No.
A few years ago when I was in the Christmas parade, the train came through and it stopped it. Some people were mad, and I thought, this is great. This is Rockwood. There's a train coming through town.
Brian, that's right.
I mean, I thought, you can't get him. It's Christmas in Rockwood.
Now, up until, I don't know when they built the bridge, there was a period of time where you could not get from one side to the other. And our hospital was still
I'll tell you the thing
functioning as a hospital at that time.
It gave me an excuse to be late to school. I loved it. Because you know I don't run on time. So
Well, and-
there was a train.
What happens is the railroad says, we'll pay you $50,000 to close this crossing.
Yes.
And I was on the council when we decided to do that for Tedder Street, or for Evans Mortuary, where Dunn Street is. So we picked that one, and that was the only one at the time. They couldn't do they couldn't do Stratton, of course.
Yeah.
So they decided, okay, $50,000, okay. Well, then we got the bridge contractor in. I was on council, and me and Bill Stinnett, former chief, and Brillo, and all of our council at the time. I wish I knew. Glenn Long was on it. I think Gene East and some more. But we were the first ones to walk across that bridge when it opened
At
up.
Tedder?
Yeah, Tedder Street. So we got that. I think it's 2006, if I'm mistaken, or 7 is one of the two there.
And that was a big deal.
It
Yes.
is a big deal. Because until that time, you literally were trapped on one side
You know-
of
That's right.
And talking about that
the tracks.
being a big deal, Dudley, you had to have a career in news. That was a big news story. What are some of the other biggest news stories involving Rockwood that you've had a chance to break or report on?
When I first got my feet wet down there from the hills at 105.7 Big Wolf Radio, AM 580, the blizzard came in '93.
Tell us
And
about
wow.
Yeah, we'd love to hear about that.
I was living on at the old Mullino home on Kingston Avenue, so I was flat ground all the way to Kingston Avenue to where our station is, and that building is still there, so I could make it.
Lucky you.
Yes.
So I had to go down there, and did reports live, and of course that's what I like about radio. It's not like that anymore in most cases. I'd love to get that back to where that if something happens, instantly you're going to know about it. Now, I know Facebook's important, I get that, and that's where we're at in this era. But we were there, and we stayed like 12, 15 hours a day, going back home to rest a little bit. REU officials were so gracious to come in and give us updates because power was out everywhere. Everybody's panicking. You know, we had, 15 inches of snow. Some banks was up to 3 feet. The mountain community was just crushed by it, as well as East Jerome County. As a matter of fact, they had to fly a helicopter in there with a pole. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And attach it to it. And Don White, as we mentioned earlier before we got on the air, said that he had to go over there. And they actually literally took that pole and carried it over and stuck it down in a hole of that woodland over there. And it's just crazy times. But we worked tirelessly doing that. And it's just, to be able to inform people what's going on, that's what I like to do. I like to be the person that gives them the information they need. Not exact all the time. I do make some flaws here and there, but that's what it is. And then another one, the same year, I believe the train crashed in Harriman up there and took out, excuse me, it crashed on north of Harriman. You remember this. It was a hot summer day. This is after the blizzard. And some tank cars went off the track there at the curve at Webster Road outside of Harriman. So they had to close the whole interstate, and they evacuated Fisk Heights. So we covered that. Matter of fact, I got on IVK that day. They called me from the scene and said, "Hey, you give us a report." I said, "Okay." And I was working on 105.7 then. But we stayed up there a lot and helped them through that process. So '93, the big train wreck in Harriman, and of course, unfortunately, the terrorist attack. I was on the air then when that happened, and I was down there, and then all of a sudden we're hearing the towers are going to. The one got hit, and then the other one, and that was a devastating time. Schools were released, everybody panicking, and we tried to cover that. Not that we couldn't cover it because it was a national story, but we were keeping people informed. And then I'll just zip on to 2000 when the transition of the computers. Everybody thought the computers was going to fail.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Y2K.
Yes,
Millennium?
Y2K.
Y2K. Stayed there all through midnight hour, talking to people,
Waiting
making
for
sure.
everything to shut down.
Yeah, you're right. Taylor was the 911 director then. I'll think of his name in a minute. Harold Holloway came down. He was the mayor. Bear Tidwell came down, and they were giving us updates as well. He was the street superintendent then. And oh gosh, a bunch of other people were calling in. We're good here. Mike Winters, he was working for us then. He was on our gospel station because we had 2 stations then, 92.7 and 105.7. Of course, AM 580. So we worked from 8 o'clock on.
He's
and
still in that mode. I can.
yeah, talking about the Y2K and got everybody through that.
That's so funny because looking back, we're chuckling, but at the time, it was obviously a real concern.
You know, it's hilarious. All I remember about that night was I was at the Walkers, New Year's Eve. Prince is on singing the party like it's 1999, while the rest of the world is supposedly shutting down.
Yes.
We're listening to Prince.
Right. Yeah, everybody was on edge.
It was, and of course
No,
it
what
worked
happened?
just fine. All the
Everything
numbers
was
worked
fine.
out, so but that's an interesting time too back in those days. And then I will tell you this one more. Unfortunately, you take things that happen seriously more than others. And there's a father and son crashed their airplane in the area over there at Angler's Cove in '90. I think it was in '97, if I ain't mistaken. And that was a big story because Don, I can't remember the rescue squad guy, captain at the time. He was over there, and we did a live report from Angler's Cove back to our station. But we had what was called a pouch phone. Glenn Hill had a pouch phone, and I had it in the van that I drove, the 1057 van. And you had to be in the right ear to get that pouch phone. We call it pouch phone because you take it out and you dial it up, and you got a little antenna on top of you, and you hope you get a signal. This is before cell phones ever came out, big time. But we did a live report from there, and it was so funny because at the time when I did Rex reports on the interstate, in the van, Glenn was so popular, he could get anybody to do anything. And we missed him for sure, and Peggy, but he had a radio in the van, a real police radio in the van, and I was number 99. It's like Get Smart, 99. So I called the dispatchers. At this time, you could do that. I said, "This is Dudley Evans, 105, this is 99 to dispatch 99. Go ahead. I need to go up the wrong side of the interstate to that accident. Is anybody coming down the interstate?" That's when the truck wrecked up on the interstate, not the Bromine spill, but later on.
I was going to ask you about that. We were 17 when that happened, so you weren't a reporter.
I got out of town that night and we had to leave. But anyway, I got on the radio. It's so funny, you could just talk to the dispatchers then. It's like, this is a good life. Now you can't do that. But
oh, that's
so
fun.
a lot of stories. There's so many, Leanne and Brian.
That
I
is
can't
fun.
give them all. There's just so many.
So the bromide spill.
Yeah.
Bromide? Is that the chemical?
Yeah, bromine.
What year was this?
It was 1977.
77.
It was in the summer, and it
I
was
need-
on the, you know how the interstate is along the edge of the mountain up there?
And moving.
That's another story.
Infamous 341.
Yeah, it's infamous.
So
on its
in the
best day.
summer of 77,
I thought you was about to say in the summer
Tanker
of
truck, yeah.
69.
no, Brian Adams. Oh, Brian Adams. I guess there was a wreck and there was a spill, and we had the whole town of Rockwood had to
There's a yellow
evacuate.
cloud
Yeah,
over.
yellow cloud. Had to evacuate, and then when we were allowed to come back in, everybody had to wash all their dishes and get all that,
I can't
chemicals.
imagine that'd be a bigger hysteria now.
And how did we? I guess Big Wolf Radios who told us to get out of town.
Peabody was there at that time. and,
Peabody was telling the story.
For sure, and I think Dick Holloway may have been there at the time.
Yes.
I was young at that time.
Yeah,
of course.
you were 17. Where
I was
did you
actually
go?
working at the bank, but at that time, my brother Dave Evans, he was his first teaching job at Allenwick Elementary near Maryville.
Okay.
And so we went to his house for the night.
All right.
And then everybody came back, The mayor then lives on Front Street up there. He's passed away now. He said, we ought to write these names down here. You know who it was. He died a couple years ago. I'll think of it in a minute.
We'll think of it later.
Yeah, but they was all done. You could Google it. I mean, I'm sure it's on somewhere. Knoxville news stations came down at that time. And very interesting times at Rockwood.
It was. We went out to, we went out to Ted Nance's house. He was friends with my dad, and that is near the Boy Scout camp. It's where Teresa Vance lives now, I think, on that.
Camp Buck Thomas Road.
Yeah.
Remember 68, the
Spot
train
on me.
wreck, when it went through Brown's building over there and took out part of Mac Upholstery's building? Vaguely remember it, right?
I do not. Do you remember any details about
That's
that?
the last train wreck in Rockwood. It jumped
I
the tracks.
just heard people talking about it.
Yeah, and
It jumped the tracks?
yeah, it went actually across the creek. It went into Brown's Cafe. Of course, we had the theater building at that time, and
We just mentioned Brown's Cafe in the last podcast.
yeah, that's the last major train wreck that went through Rockwood. There was one more down in Roddy. I think happened in 1984, if I'm mistaken, but nobody was injured in that. Nobody got injured in this one, but
I remember in the 60s, always, if we're stopped for a train, I could not wait for the caboose.
Yeah.
Not because the train was over, because back then there was always a man that would be on the back on the caboose, and he would wave to us.
Every story goes back to you. There was a man.
Man,
I'll tell you why those are no longer needed. They have what is called Fred on the rear of the train. It's a flashing light. You'll see it there.
Oh.
It's got a box. You'll see a little box on the very coupler, on the last coupler. It's flashing. Of course,
called
it's
Fred.
Fred.
Named
It's
after that
front end, the rear end, the train device.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Wow.
computerized now and sends a signal back to the engineer, and they in the cabs. They'll tell it gives brake pressure and everything, all the readings, and if anything ever snaps or whatever, then it tells it immediately. So there's no longer for a caboose no more.
Well, that is also good, but I do think that people are missing out by not having that experience of that human person
Oh, yeah, that's
on the
it.
caboose. I mean,
We always were fascinated by the graffiti.
and I love the graffiti.
That's
on
true
the,
talent.
on the cars. And
I
the
mean,
train.
there's true talent that is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Most of those are done up north, I think, when all those cars are sitting on sidings. And
I think Leanne's done it before.
I wish I had that kind of. Maybe Janisha's been out there.
Yeah, I
spray
heard
painting.
that. Well, she
could
paid
do
a
it.
horse on it. She loves the
Yeah, it would
Norfolk
be a
Southern
horse.
because they had a horse on the engine. So,
Okay.
you know, that's what they're. And then we rode the TC down. I was going to have a plan of getting an excursion run up here from
That's
Crab
right.
Orchard to Rockwood. We're still hoping that will happen at some point. Dave McClarty, who passed away, is a very he was really headstrong in getting that done, and we talked with Tom Carson. He's working with some people off the cuff a little bit with Tennessee Valley Railway Museum to see if Lil Wass, who owns the plant out there, the Crab Orchard Limestone, would like to have them operate their cars to Rockwood instead of them doing it, because now Lawass owns that track all the way to Rockwood to Furnace Avenue up here. So whether that will happen someday, but we was able to ride the excursion down a couple of times, and that's interesting. So hopefully someday that will be something that will bring more tourism to Rockwood.
Oh, I would love to see that happen.
I'd love to be able to eat and travel on the train.
Right. And you mentioned Tom Carson. He's not from here, but he's really embraced the whole
the
culture
trail.
and history, and he's working on the
Forest
Rockwood
trails?
Forest Trails. So I didn't know he had the interest in the trains, but I'm glad to hear that because, you know, he'll
He probably,
make that move
he'll
forward
get
a
to
little
it,
bit.
yeah, and he'll work it out. So,
Yeah.
history of Rockwood is something else. I mean, just amazing place that we need to get the word out
Mm-hmm.
about
Amen.
that. You know, the iron ore, the trains, the silverware, and everything else that came through here, and it's just been amazing. And then he mentioned that this town is up there called Arbutus.
Arbutus.
Arbutus, and so
Who knew? I didn't know.
Thank you, Tom, for telling
Yeah.
us. So it's been a good run for us. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know. Of course, you know, you showed my dad there moments ago. He was a military veteran from World War II. He was drafted and stayed over in in France and different areas up there. He had a bad job. You know, the veterans, some of them never speak about exactly what they go through. And I understand that he was the person, him and his crew that you've seen a picture with there, was the cleanup guys who had to go out behind the front lines, and when someone died or whatever, and get them out of there and get them back to safety or get them some help. But unfortunately, some were never able to be helped. So they never talk about that much. But he's 4 years in, and of course I have some uncles that's been in the Air Force, and so the Evans family's been active. Of course, Butch Evans, my cousin.
Well, I was going to ask you, what Evans? There's a bunch of Evans around
Yeah,
here.
we're the ones that there's 3 sets in Rockwood. You remember Merle Evans, Longmire,
Yes.
and then the Evans Hardware. We wasn't kin to them, I don't think.
Okay.
Evans, it's Bowman Evans.
Yeah.
Remember
Okay.
Bowman Evans. And then we're the branch, I guess, that came from the Booth family, if I ain't mistaken, because I understand from some of my sources and my aunts and uncles and others who know a lot about that grandfather may have been adopted by an Evans, but could have been a Booth. So I might be a Booth and Evans. So then Butch worked for the Booth Funeral Home, kind of metaphorically.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when they were downtown, I miss those old buildings, but you know, they're gone. But Butch worked for Booth for a while. Then he said, you know what, we need another funeral home. So his dad, Bob, who ran Parkway Service Station, remember that?
Yes, I didn't know that was.
That's my uncle, my dad's brother.
Okay.
They ran Parkview Service Station for years. And Jimmy Tigg, of course, was his brother-in-law. That was Virginia and Butch's mother's brother. They just coincided there. So they decided in 1976 to build a funeral home. And it's been up here ever since,
Yeah.
and it's really been
Very.
remarkable, the people that they've helped through the years. So
Yes, they
Butch is
have.
first cousin, and
Can't go to heaven without stopping to do
no,
that.
that's right. I always said Butch would be the last one to let you down.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot.
Well, thanks for sharing your story and coming in and giving us a tour of the model
Yeah.
shop. Got a question. This is a Rockwood High School question that we ask everybody.
And there's not a right answer
We
because
don't
nobody
know
knows the answer.
We're seeking.
You know, we're sitting here.
Oh, Brian.
I've got a green shirt on, green.
Yeah, I got my Rockwood green on today.
We're proud of it. But why are we the Tigers? Do you know?
I thought you asked someone that on the podcast, and I thought they answered that. So you haven't got an answer
Their
on that?
answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And we are continuing to look. I've even asked Tom Carson, who's a history. He's done
I think
research
at
on
that
Tom,
time
if he
people
could
just
figure it
used
out.
animals as their mascots, basically, and I guess Tigers was a good
It is a good
name.
one.
Maybe the Barnum and Bailey Circus came through town or something that year. or
Yeah, he's
something.
here. He's going to just make up something. I like it.
And they say, "Hey, not tiger," because we're roaring. we're fierce, and we are very strong, and
Yeah.
and I guess you could say it that way.
We
Oh,
could
by
go
the way,
with-
I played basketball for. Can I mention this? Right quick?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
I played. It's so funny. Oh, it's just a funny story. My kids still laugh at me today. I played middle school for Jerry Johnson, who was our middle school teacher or coach at the time. And I remember going to Crab Orchard Middle School when they first built their new building out there. We played out there, and so then we came back and we were going to do photos. And someone didn't tell me that day, so I had blue socks on.
Oh, Dudley.
Light blue, sky blue socks on. I still got my picture, maybe them light blue socks on. And I think I had Brillo's number, 43, at that time on that. And, but it's funny. But then I went to Coach Thompson, then got into high school. And I played a couple of years. But then I started working for a living when I was 16, like I told you, when I was working at the bank. And I've been working ever since. I worked for David Woods and Dennis Butler and Terry Stooksbury had a construction company. They built houses back in the early 70s. So I was their mud maker and block carrier. So I've worked for a
You
living.
have
People
done it
say that I
all.
don't never work. Look,
Yeah.
I've been there, done that in every aspect.
Yeah. You
But
and
I've
your-
never flown on a plane yet.
Oh, okay.
No, never have, Scott.
We'll
But
have
you-
to go to Rockwood Airport and change it.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
could
I know,
take you
I
on
know
a. Do you want to?
We'll do a podcast from there.
I don't know.
I don't know if you want
Podcast
to.
from there.
Not right now with all this TSA stuff going on, but
Yeah, but Coach Thompson got my first paddling with Coach Selby. Well,
you're first.
well, I think it's. I think C.W. Pemberton gave me my first, and that was the only one you ever wanted, right?
Yeah.
CW probably.
Was
gave
it
the
because
first
you
one.
wore blue socks? Is that why he?
That would be
paddled you?
enough.
No, I had a fight
would
with Bill
justify-
Klein. We went on the bus coming back to trade school. He grabbed my hat off my head, and I didn't like it or something. We got in scuffle, and we got outside the bus in the parking lot there where the gymnasium is now. And we got smacking around a little bit. So he took us both in and paddled us. That's the only fight I've ever had in my life.
And CW settled it.
Yeah.
No, Selby did then.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, but a lot of times, it's Rockwood.
Yeah.
And I just wish, as others do, that we could ever get an exit off the interstate up here. But maybe someday somebody will pull the right string.
Yeah. You never know.
You never know about that, yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you.
Thank you, Leanne,
It's a
Brian.
Saturday, so we got the rest of the day to go enjoy this beautiful day. And I guess you're going to go back and work on your models.
Yeah, I'm going to do some work down there, and then very well. The position of a news reporter is you never know what's going to happen next. And every time I get home and I'm sitting there just relaxing, then I'll get a call. Hey, there's a fire up here at Rockwood. There's a fire in Harriman, or there's a wreck up here. So like, okay, I guess I'll have to let Sanford Sun wait for a few more minutes. Because I'm a nostalgia guy. I love the old times. I'm a 70s, 80s and guy, and I'm not into all this modern new shows that are on TV. They're all right. I know some of them are, but tell you what happens on TV nowadays, it's just so, and I noticed, and Scott may notice it too, on these new shows, they'll flash these scenes so quick. They're like 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and another second. Then it just drives me nuts. I'm thinking, you know.
You
I like
can
the old
relax
westerns.
watching those old shows like Sanford and Son. You can
Yes.
at least relax. You don't have to be on the edge of your seat trying to.
Love westerns too.
Figure out what's-
Yeah, I'm a western guy. Unfortunately, we lost Marshall Andy last week. So, of course, unfortunately, Matt Hinkin, who passed away. You know, Channel
know,
6.
that was shocking
Weather
to me.
guy. So a lot of folks have done gone on, but we encourage everybody to make their plans to leave here because we're going to leave here one day after a while. As a minister as
Yes.
well, I'm just telling you know that we'll all face our day in
Yes.
God's court someday.
Absolutely.
So-
We cannot escape that.
No, we can't.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
I want to thank you for having us. For many of us, Dudley and Big Wolf are the voice of Rockwood, Roane County. You know that's true. And the best version of God Bless America is sung by this man next to us.
Well, your boss got me to started that back in '93. Was it when the troops left and went
Yes.
to the Persian Gulf?
Yes.
The first war. I can't remember the name of the what they titled it. But he said, "Dudley, come on down and sing God Bless USA," because we sang it for his coach for the code a couple of times. And me and Dennis Ferguson have been buddies all of our life. He was raised by his grandmother, Bonnie Lewis, right up from where we were raised on Kate Road in Rockwood, in Eureka community. And all of us boys over there, the Collinses and the Burks and Earl Hagler's gas station, remember that, Leanne, down in Eureka? That was
Yes.
our hangout somewhat. And
Sure,
I'll tell you this,
Tom
is we got to
Bowers
get
got
off
married
here in a few minutes, but it's to make it correct. Earl Hagler,
Yep.
Hagler Service Station.
Okay.
down in
You said
Eureka.
somebody got married there?
Tommy Bowers
Did he?
and Joyce. Yeah.
Oh, I bet you're right.
Well,
It's no longer there. But that was a place where we all kind of went. But we built a sign in Eureka right there at Kate Road, and where it comes down the hill from Wheeler Street when you get to Crossroads. And I was born and raised on Kate Road. So all of us boys spray painted a sign: "Welcome to welcome to Eureka. Population 333 and a third." And I won't tell you who the third was, but she was short.
oh, that's fun.
Yeah, but Dennis his grandmother lived up the road, and he was always there. And his aunt June Oren was our next door neighbor, so we always knew each other all our lives. So some funny stuff.
But that's the best version. That's the version I think of. We've conned you into singing it at ball games, at picnics, cooking. Everywhere
right now, Kate.
everywhere we get Dudley to sing it, we make him do it. Just saying.
Good.
But once again, thank you for coming. You are a legend to us,
Well, I thank you for that.
even
I
if you
appreciate
did
it.
graduate in the second best class. 'Cause we know
Best
2,000
class.
was.
Best class.
78 will always be remembered.
But
And we
you-
hope to have another reunion someday, right, Leanne? Maybe Philip Nelson's going to get that together.
Yeah,
someday.
Philip's really good to keep us all
He
connected.
is. Unfortunately, Facebook and me, I get on it best I can, and sometimes I miss some people's birthday wishes, but I
Yeah,
do try to say
but he
happy
does.
birthday to all of our
Philip's good. I mean, if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be knowing when people had birthdays. He graduated with us, and we have a Facebook page, and it's amazing. We're a pretty
And I'll
amazing
say
group
that-
I
of
bet
people.
the font's this big.
Yeah.
The font's big, yes. Sign us off, Brian.
Once again, thank you. Please continue to join us as we tell the story of Rockwood, the story of us.